What happens when you're evaluating a deal that has great historical performance per the tax returns all the way up to last year, but declining revenues in the current fiscal year we are in 2023? What do? You have the strong performance and marginal performance. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to evaluate the whole thing, what to do, what not to do, and how to prepare your offer to protect you. Let's get to it. Everybody, welcome to my channel. I am your host, Leo Landaverde, business broker and commercial lender, helping you buy and scale a profitable business. If you are a business owner looking to increase your wealth by purchasing a profitable business, or a W-2 employee or corporate executive looking to get out of the rat race by buying a profitable business, you are in the right place. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell, and you'll be notified every Thursday when new videos come out.
Okay, guys. This is really the same workbook, the same deal I was looking at last week when I did the other video. I think this is just a follow-up. And we're talking about what to do when there are decreasing revenues in the current fiscal year. So for that, I want to take you to the front end. So when we're looking at this deal last week, we're looking at a deal that was asking price was 1.4, went revenue 1.5 per the listing agent, representing the seller cash flow at 400,000. So this deal was put on the market at 3.5 times seller discretionary earnings. Not bad at all. The proposed financing was a 15% down payment with a for the buyer, and the seller was willing to carry 10%, and a bank loan was 75% of the purchase price. Now, I don't know on this particular situation whether the SBA had this is an illustrative case, but we don't know whether ideally when you're looking at deals, if the listing agent says that the deal has been pre-approved by an SBA lender, that you actually get the pre-qualification letter from the seller from the SBA lender saying that they're willing to do the deal, because otherwise they're bluffing. So the numbers, the seller carry at 8% over 60 months with no standby provision. The annual debt service of 34,000 for seller carry, and the bank loan at 163 gives you a debt service coverage ratio of 2.03. You know from the gate that this is a good deal already. The numbers pencil in. You also know that what the listing agent gives you as the asking price, the revenue and the cash flow comes from the last fully reconciled fiscal year, usually comes from the tax returns. If they did their job right, these numbers are going to check out. So we'll see that later. So this is what we do know. In the operating cash flow sheet, which is where we spend the majority of our time calculating when you're analyzing deals, we're taking this information straight out of this tax returns. So you notice that in 2000, we're going back to 2019. So you got 19, 20, 21, 22, all tax returns for these 4 preceding years. And we have the first 6 months of the interim fiscal year, in this case is 2023. So spread across this workbook, and you take the information from the tax returns, this is how you see the patterns emerge. The net profit per the tax returns on the net profit line item of 220 is 22% of sales. Strong. And you also know that we're adding back the officer comp per the tax returns of 50,000. It gives us a net cash flow available for debt service of 270. Strong. On the proposed deal, we'll get back to that. The 143 and the 131, which is without a stress and with a stress, it comes from putting the cash flow over the debt service, which is what the lenders are looking at. We know that this is good. So the next year, 2020, even during the pandemic, strong performance, debt service coverage ratio 1.82, 1.68, it would have been fine. 2021 is slightly increased at 1.4, or with a net profit of 350, adjustments to cash flow of 50, which is your officer comp add back. And then you have $400,000 worth of cash flow available for debt service. So Look at the debt service coverage ratio goes to from 1.82 in the prior year to 2.11, and even with stress at 1.95, we're looking good. Revenue went up a little bit in 2022 from 1.4 to 1.5. The net profit per the tax return was 365, and we are slightly better cash flow. Notice the net profit as a percentage of sales. More important than the numbers are the percentages of revenue that they represent. 22, 24, 25, 24. So for the first 4 years, we're looking at a solid deal, and the debt service coverage went even higher from 2.11 to 2.19. Great historical performance, but we have a problem. Look at the first 6 months of the fiscal year. We're trending at half. At this rate, we're going to end up at 1.2 million, which is we're going back to what we did back in 2020. The net profit is also down. Now, these are not tax returns. These are interim financials. They're being so then we add back the officer compensation went down, or pretty much the same, assuming that this is like a S corp with marginal officer comp, because owners can pay whatever they want. The problem with the IRS, sometimes they wanted to pay as much as possible because the IRS doesn't want miss out on payroll taxes. Regardless, our debt service coverage ratio is a problem. 0.85 over 0.78. This is a bad situation for the interim year. So what to do? So a couple things. Oh, okay. Before I get into my explanation, I want to show you about in the particular deal analysis. We have the 3-year average historical performance of 386, pretty close to the 400,000 that we were told. So if we go with the 3-year average, forgetting about the current year at 386, and if you actually went with the offer multiple of 3.5, you'll be 1.3 offer, pretty close to what they have. So if this is a competitive industry and you know that there's a few buyers lined up, you want to come pretty close to asking price if you have any chance of securing this deal. 10% down or 90% loan to value. Our debt service coverage ratio 2.04 with post debt service cash flow 197 is looking mighty good. However, how do we hedge ourselves against the issue of the current fiscal year? Now, this is when you start asking questions. Why is the revenue down? Was 2022 and 2021 pent-up demand from the COVID years and things have now kind of normalized? So is the business really a run rate of a 1.2 instead of 1.4 and 1.5?
If you want to know what it's like working with me and my team, we have a great program I'd like to tell you about. But let's get to know each other and figure out if this is a good fit for you. Please reach out to me. You can either drop me a comment below or you can send me an email. My email address is in the description section of this video. Let's connect and let me help you with your journey of buying a profitable business.
Why is the net profit down? So you need to start asking questions. And this is where your management experience comes into play. This is when your knowledge of the industry comes into play. Now, I can tell you that this business owner, from what I know, has taken his eyes off the wheel. He put the business for sale and he's checked out. He's not delivering on the revenue, which is something that happens quite often. Seller has been working very hard to get the business ready for sale, and the minute that they list it with an agent, they stop working, and then basically the revenue slides backwards. Now, it's because this happens quite often. This is not necessarily something that you would make you just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now, if you know that the owner is not working, has been on vacation for 3 months, is not really working the business, all you would have to do to get the business back on track is to really work the business. How is the owner's backlog? How is the customer service? How the employees are still there? Are they still implementing their marketing strategies? Are still following up on all the leads? Are they truly working the business? Now, if they are really hitting everything that they need to be doing and the revenue is still down, you may want to reconsider the purchase price. Or if the revenue is down, you may actually put the upside back on the seller and force the seller to carry a note with some provisions, clawback provisions of debt forgiveness if the milestones for revenue are not hit. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is when we go back to the deal analysis, we realize, wait a minute, we really like this deal. This business has been around for 30 years. This brand is going to be around for another 30 years on a recession-proof business. This is a paying business that everybody needs to use. We're going to find out a little more about why the seller is slacking off. Maybe the seller is sick. Maybe the seller is going through a divorce. Maybe the seller, there's something that is prohibiting from working what they should. You don't really know until you start asking questions. And, interview the seller again, get to know their story, get to know their real pain, get to know that if the reason makes sense for you, then you should move forward, but offer a little less. Maybe instead of 3.5 times, you offer 3 times. And then instead of 1.4, you're offering 1.1. What is the likelihood of the revenue? Even in the year that they 1.25, the net profit, the cash flow or the seller discretionary earning was 345. If you went 2.75 and then you let the seller carry 10, look at what we're looking at here. This business, if you were to offer a little less because the seller has to be penalized for the lack of performance in the current year, but not penalized enough that makes no sense for them to sell. If you come with a very low ball offer, expect the seller to walk away, because here's the thing, as much as the seller wants to sell, if you push them enough, they will take the business off the market, they won't sell, and then you will miss out on what could have been a great opportunity. So for you to win, you must lose something. For them to win, they must lose something. That's where negotiations come into play. And this is what the deal analyzer allows you to do. So 2.75 on 386, which we know is the performance per the tax returns, they're not hiding the profits. You're looking at $1 million offer, a little over $1 million, $1,063,000. And you're looking at 106, down payment, which is cash on cash return at 225. Okay, and if you want further assurances, look at the operating income, and it's been averaging about, remember, 2023 is not over, so don't discount it completely, because they may rebound on the second half. This was when it may help you to know if there is a seasonality to the business. If historically the business has done very well on the second half of the year, it behooves you to get the trailing 12 months and see how they did between July 2022 and December 2022, and they may surprise you. So just do more analysis. So say you were to go with a 2.75 on 386. Remember, you get to dictate what the seller discretionary earnings are. You may dictate, I'm going to give them a discount, so I'm going to say it's worth 2.75 on 350, and then you come out at 962. We're starting to, the gap is starting to get bigger. Now we have over $400,000 and $450,000 worth of gap between the asking price and the offer. The more you chip away and go down, the larger the gap, the more you stand a chance of losing this deal. So don't be so aggressive in your offer that you price yourself out of competition. Assuming that you have to assume that a good business with good cash flow is going to have other buyers looking at the deal, and you don't want to be too shrewd for your own good. So you have a loan of $770,000. So if you do $770,000 at 10% net profit, if you're worrying about break even, what will you need to be generated in order to break even? So in this case, at $800,000, you will need to be doing probably closer to $1 million, because remember, there is the two loans, there is the 770 and there's the seller carry. So you have to make payments on both unless we're closer to 1.15 to break even. So you have to generate 1.2 in order for you to break even at the seller discretionary earnings, so of 10%. So unless you were to do better, but remember that historically they've done about 24%. So even if you came out of 15% on 1.2 million, you'll be fine. So you can get to play with these things, and people in my group and my group coaching program actually get to have these tools at their disposal. There's those available for those who are part of my group. Anyway, so this is how you deal with decreasing revenues. There is potential, and if a deal is struck when you actually understand the difference between what a diamond in the rough looks like. If this is a diamond in the rough situation, it would be bad if you just walked away from it. All right, guys, here's another video. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Thanks.
For a limited time, I'm giving away two things: my cash flow calculator to evaluate the cash flow in any deal you're evaluating to buy, and my business purchasing checklist. I did an entire video, and I'm actually giving you those two as a token of appreciation for subscribing and watching my videos. It is yours to keep, both of them. All you have to do is follow the links below in the description section of this video and enjoy them.